Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome to this video. Read the title if you want to know what it's about before you get in here. And I know I'm going to kind of confuse some of you who keep thinking that like I hate Dean Ambrose, and I don't. I just don't think he was ready for the title in this situation. But guys, I'm going to kind of 180 here. And I'm going to say Dean Ambrose needs to retain at Battleground. The rumor online right now, as it currently stands, is that Dean Ambrose is set to lose the match. And I almost want to just give Vince a good right in the forehead on this one, because this isn't going to work. Realistically, you can't put the belt back on Reigns. You just can't. And if you give the belt to Rollins, then why didn't you just let Rollins hold the belt? There was no point in giving Dean the belt if you're just going to take it back a month later. So what I did was, my big complaint has been that the title is being hot potatoed. And you can't argue that it isn't, because it is. I have stats to back me up. So the last 7 champions, we have 2 reigns that got interrupted by Money in the Bank. That's in the last 245 days. So in less than a year, 2/3 of a year, okay, we've had 2 Money in the Bank cash-ins. Okay, so starting from Roman Reigns winning it at Survivor Series. Okay, he held it for like a few minutes. Sheamus held it for 22 days to lose it to Reigns, who held it for 41 days. Who lost to Triple H, who held it for 70 days. Reigns held it for 77, then Rollins held it for a few minutes. And then Dean Ambrose is projected to win this at 35 days. To lose this at 35 days. My bad. So the average title reign then will have lasted 35 days. There are 30 days in a month. So you're projecting to have 10 different reigns in one calendar year. Why? So I was at work and my buddy Ryan and we started thinking, when was the last time the belt was hot potatoed this much? And so what did I do? He at work looked it up, and then I regathered the data. So the only time in recent WWE history, as in post-Attitude Era, that the belt has been hot potatoed this much, the World Championship, either on Raw or SmackDown, WWE or World Heavyweight Championship, was in 2011 with the Summer of Punk. And I almost hesitate to include this because it's such a small sample size. And realistically, on one side, it's prefaced by a 3-month-long Cena reign, and on the other side, it's ended with a 434-day CM Punk reign. So you almost can't include it, but just for, shits and giggles. Punk held it for 28 days, Ray held it for not even a day, Cena held it for 20 days, and they had their unification match. And then Del Rio cashed in, and Del Rio held it for 35 days. Cena held it for 14 days, and then Del Rio held it for 49 days. And over that course of 146 days, the average reign length was 24.3 days. That's pretty bad. But regardless, we can't count it because it's such a small sample size. So we're going to continue looking back, because that was what Ryan and I agreed upon. We thought that was the worst example. But the best example that I can compare to, and I know people are going to start going, well, see, Mudlup, you're wrong. But I'm not. Okay? Was the average reign for this 265-day period was 26.5 days. Okay? And obviously, you knew it had to be Attitude Era. It just had to be. And that was, Mankind held it for 26 days, lost it to The Rock, who held it for 2 days, who lost it back to Mankind for 20 days, who lost it to The Rock for 41 days, who lost to Austin for 56 days, who lost to Taker for 36 days, Austin for 55, Mankind for a day, Triple H for 22 days, and McMahon for 6 days. And in this span, there were 3 reigns that were single-digit days. This was the Attitude Era at its finest. And I'm not saying the Attitude Era was bad. Okay, guys? I'm definitely not saying that, okay? If you guys want to put those words in my mouth, go for it. Because I can't say that. I'm just saying, statistically, the belt was hot potatoed here. Bad. And that was the worst time for the WWE Championship in terms of being hot potatoed in a 2/3 of the year or better span. So then you go, well, you know, we can't really stop here. So I looked at ECW. Never was that bad. Not even close. Technically, they never even got close to what we're at now. So in any 200-day span, the average championship reign lasted longer than 35 days. That's ECW, guys. WCW was horrible. And I'm pretty sure this was the worst 245 days for any championship in history. And I think if you're a wrestling fan, you know where I'm going. And that was, Sid won it, held it for 76 days. And that is the longest title reign in this gap, which was then followed by him losing it to Jeff Jarrett for 8 days, Diamond Dallas Page for a day, David Arquette for 12 days, Jeff Jarrett for 8 days, Ric Flair for 7 days, Jeff Jarrett for 1 day, Kevin Nash for 6 days, Jeff Jarrett for 41 days, Booker T for 50 days, Kevin Nash for 20 days, Booker T for 8 days, and finally ending with Vince Russo for 7 days. The average title reign here was 18.8 days. To be fair, though, there are a few things working in WCW's favor here. For one, they knew they were going to run out of business. They were going to fail if things didn't change. And you can almost excuse it if, you know, Vince Russo and David Arquette didn't win it. But regardless, the other excuse is that there were a lot of vacancies in this time period, so it's kind of like it wasn't really a 245-day span. I didn't write down how long it actually was, but that's how long people were holding the belt in this time window, from champion to champion. And so I just have some interesting statistics. So remember, okay, the average WWE Championship run right now is 35 days since Roman Reigns won it at Survivor Series. So you guys remember the WWE's version of ECW? Right? I'm sure a lot of you are booing right now. And I'm going to say right now that their world title was more prestigious than our current WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And you guys are going to go, what? Mudlup, you have officially just jumped off the deep end. And to which I say they only had 2 reigns in their 5-year existence where it was less than 35 days. That was when Vince McMahon won it, and he held it, I'm sorry, that's not even true. Vince's run was 35 days. It was when RVD got caught with weed. I want to say it was weed, correct? The first reign with the belt. And that only lasted, 20-some days? Who cares? And then when Lashley held it, his second run, which was after the Battle of the Billionaires, he lost to McMahon, held it for I think it was 6 days maybe? 2 days maybe? I can't remember. But those were the only runs with the belt that lasted less time than 35 days. So WWE, here is what I'm saying to you, okay? If Dean Ambrose loses the belt at Battleground, okay, your title looks like crap. It looks like Dean Ambrose really wasn't a main eventer. It looks like Roman Reigns is a moron. It looks like Seth Rollins is a dumbass. This is the situation you have put yourself in. The longest reign since Seth Rollins had the belt the first time was Triple H's 77 days. Now, a lot of you might be saying, but Mudlup, what else could they do to set up the Shield triple threat? And I actually thought of a dream booking that works, right? Now, you Dean Ambrose fans out there, you're going to be unhappy with this, but it still kind of works. Okay, so if you really were dead set on having this at Battleground, okay, here's what you do. Okay, you go into Money in the Bank. Dean Ambrose wins the briefcase. Okay, now this is saying Roman Reigns still gets caught with whatever he got caught with, so hypothetically, Seth Rollins wins the match. Okay, now instead of Dean Ambrose cashing in, he comes out to the stage and he goes, well, Seth, why don't we have a match at Battleground? Or you could wait till the next night on Raw and then have Reigns cash in his rematch. Go, Seth, I want my rematch at Battleground. It'll be a great match, blah, 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 who cares? And then Dean comes in and he says, I'm formally cashing in for Battleground. And you guys might say, why would he do that? Well, for one, he already hinted that he knew what the IWC wanted by announcing the Shield triple threat the Raw before that, June 13th. Okay, and two, it's still a lunatic thing to do. It's more lunatic. Lunacy? It's more crazy, okay? Hear me out, okay? What is crazier than going into a match that you could have cashed in and had, a beat-up opponent, and instead you set up what the fans wanted, which makes you a better babyface, and two, you still get the crazy. WWE, why can fans book better than you? Regardless, as you can see, I'm wearing my AJ Styles t-shirt. I know I mentioned it in one video, so I just wanted to point it out. That's what I'm wearing today, because AJ Styles is the bomb. He's the phenomenal one. And he'll be beating Cena and Enzo and Cass at Battleground. But yeah, that about wraps it up. So if you have comments, drop them in the comment box. I'm going to try to get it to where YouTube just automatically publishes them because I'm tired of having to go in and look for these comments. But yeah, make sure to like the video if you agree with me, or even if you disagree with me. Why not? If you think the WWE title means something, my bad, then feel free to comment telling me that you think it's prestigious right now. Yeah. But anyway, if you're a new viewer, subscribe, because I will be doing a how they should do Battleground. I don't know what I'll call it, but I'll come up with something catchy, I'm sure. But thanks for watching. Peace out.